Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, yada yada. The day has come. The day that we didn't want to come throughout this entire transfer window has finally arrived. And in typical get it up your Ryan fashion, not only is Matt O'Reilly set to join Brighton and leave Celtic breaking all of their hearts, but they have just gone and beaten Manchester United. And obviously, if you know me, I like Man United. So yeah, it's a double whammy for me today. Matt O'Reilly giving it fucking that to Ryan 118, isn't he? Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. If somebody donates £100, I will sing Goodbye My Lover in the style of James Blunt for the stream. I'm joking, by the way, I'm joking. It's nice to see you. We know what's happening. We know what this live stream is all about. It has been coming. It was something that I think as the window dragged on, a lot of us, including myself, maybe hoped wouldn't happen in this transfer window. I've just pressed a button on my keyboard. I think a lot of us were hoping it wouldn't happen in this transfer window. And I think a lot of us maybe got to the point where we were accepting the fact that we might actually hold on to Matt O'Reilly for one more transfer window. And it's not happened. It's not the case. I feel bad. I feel like I have jinxed or something. I don't know. When Brighton first registered their interest in the player and this popped up, you know, a month or so ago now, it was quite a while ago to right now, this minute. I remember making the first video on it and I sat down in this chair and I said, Matt O'Reilly will go to Brighton. I was confident that Matt O'Reilly will go to Brighton. And I feel like I jinxed that. I tried to reverse jinx it, didn't work. Feel like I jinxed it and I pushed him at the door. And a lot of people will have their opinions about the move itself and moving from a club like Celtic to Brighton, but listen, I've covered that so many times on this channel. You know my opinions. It's 2024. These are the moves that players take to get to the next step. Listen, I just watched Brighton beat Manchester United there. Brighton are a side who finished 6th in the Premier League a couple of years ago. I know that historically Brighton are not a big club. You can't convince anybody that historically they're a big club or that they have any sort of significance over Celtic. They don't. But Brighton right now is such an attractive place to go. And it has been for a number of years. Matt O'Reilly would have been daft to knock back the opportunity to go and play for them. So I understand that some people will be absolutely gutted. Some people might even be angry and maybe push some anger towards Matt O'Reilly for leaving Celtic for a club like Brighton. But at the end of the day, that's football. It's 2024. And I can't blame him taking the move. I really can't. It's now about how we move on. We're going to go through all the details and all the rest of it. Thank you for tuning into the live stream this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know we don't usually do Saturday afternoon lives, but this is obviously quite a big topic that has to be spoke about. So we're going to try and cover all bases on it. So we're going to talk about the move itself. We're going to talk about where Celtic go next. Yeah, it's a frustrating day, I'd imagine, but it is happening for all of those who might be tuning in who aren't clued up on the latest updates. He's been spotted on his plane. He's on his way to Brighton. He's probably there by now, actually. He probably was in watching the game with folk, I'd imagine, but he has went down. He probably is done, played his last game for the club. And that announcement will probably come over the next 48 hours. I have a feeling it might be Monday morning they'll officially announce it. They typically don't bother announcing transfers on Saturdays or Sundays, but it could be. Don't take my word on it. I'm just making a guess that he will be announced as a player on Monday officially. But he's a Brighton player, essentially. That's all you need to know. Thank you, Ian, by the way, for the first donation of the stream. Hi, Ryan. Was hoping this day would not come. Thank you for the donation, first of all, Ian, and yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't come either. Shall we dance over the details and how we got here? Of course, this has been bubbling on for weeks, and I guess the one and only positive that we can take from all of this is that it's done and we don't need to talk about it anymore. Matt O'Reilly has left Celtic. We don't need to speculate whether he's leaving Celtic. He's just gone and that's that. But I think I would have happily took another 7 days of that if it meant keeping Matt O'Reilly. I just think he's going to be so tough to replace. But look, before we're going to cover the replacing side of things and acting fast and all that jazz in a moment. We'll get to that after the move itself. We will cover every ground that we can here and every possible basis of it all. But Matt O'Reilly joined Celtic for £1.5 million back in January of 2022, and I don't think many people expected him to come in and be the player that he was. Thank you very much, Adam. It is time to spend the money, 100%. Don't worry, I'm not saying my point's not going to be that £1.5 million will replace him. It's not. But thank you for the donation, Adam. Hopefully the Celtic board are listening to the fans, but I very much doubt it. I wish him well. He's moved on. He's away, but it is hard, and I think it will be so tough to replace him. I just don't want people to think it's impossible to replace him. Because as I was about to say, when we signed him for £1.5 million from MK Dons back in that January transfer window, people were like, okay, looks a decent enough player. He's coming from League One in England. He could be okay. Nobody really expected him to kick on and become Scotland's first ever £30 million player. This is a record transfer. We've not even touched on this yet. This is a record transfer in Scotland. £30 million. Nobody, I guarantee not one person, not one Celtic supporter back in January of 2022 when he signed for the club from MK Dons would have predicted he would leave to become Scotland's first ever £30 million player. Nobody would have predicted it. So I know that people are getting caught up in this whole Matt O'Reilly's gone, we're not going to be able to replace him, it's going to be so tough to replace him. Yeah, it will be, 100%. He's one of the best players I've seen at Celtic in the last decade. But better players have come and gone. It's as simple as that. We will eventually replace Matt O'Reilly. It might not be instantly, but who knows? It might be the next £1.5 million signing from England's League One that is the next Matt O'Reilly up here. So we just need to be patient in that regard. I know Matt O'Reilly was loved by the Celtic support, but loved by me, one of my favourite players, and it will be absolutely gutting to see him go, but it's not the end of the world. As long as the Celtic board get the finger out their jacksy for the next 7 days, we might stand a chance of replacing him. But I wish him the absolute nothing but the best of luck. I have enjoyed watching him week in, week out for the past 2.5 years. He's been an absolute joy to watch. To be quite honest. So yeah, I'm going to miss him 100%. So it all started last night. Fabrizio Romano gave us this first damning update around 7:45 PM last night that Brighton were closing in on the Matt O'Reilly deal with Celtic. The verbal agreement was almost done. He was set to become Brighton's next signing after Kadioglu done working on the final details, and then it would be sealed. We then got another update. If I can get, I'm going to have to switch between a few of the different stories here, so just bear with me. But then later on, this one came at about 8:30, so roughly an hour later. Matt O'Reilly to Brighton. Here we go. Agreement sealed as reported earlier. Brighton complete one more massive signing. Celtic to receive, and here was the big detail. Celtic to receive £25 million up front as a fixed fee, and add-ons that will take it to a £30 million package, obviously becoming the record transfer out of Scotland. O'Reilly and Kadioglu deals are done. And then finally, this morning around 9 AM, Fabrizio, the man that we all hate at the minute, and rightly so, he gave us the last and final damning update until we get the official signing photographs that Matt O'Reilly and Ferdi Kadioglu will both sign as new Brighton players this weekend. Celtic and Fenerbahce have authorised medicals for both players as Brighton complete all the agreements. And then, in case you still don't want to believe it, in case you thought to yourself, nah, Fabrizio's wrong, he's wrong, he's not getting this one right, he's wrong for a change. We got the stab to the heart this morning. Ignore the TUI adverts on the side of my screen, it's not a sponsored video, trust me. We got the damning pictures this morning. Matt O'Reilly on his flight down to London to go and complete the move to Brighton. Yes, they shoved him on an EasyJet flight. Listen, if you were signing for Celtic, Dermot Desmond would get his private jet out for you, but no, Brighton have shoved him on an EasyJet flight. He has been pictured on way to London to then go to Brighton and complete his medical, complete the signing, and become a Brighton player officially. It's done, it's dusted, it's a sad, sad day. Matt O'Reilly has been an absolute baller. And somebody who I have never tired of watching. Somebody who came under a lot of criticism in Ange Postecoglou's last season, you'll remember, and then dug it out the bag for Brendan Rodgers and proved to everybody exactly the player that he was. So, we're getting £30 million for him, which is a magnificent sum of money. It's just about whether or not now the board use that money to replace him. Mateusz Bogus is not enough. I think that Celtic need to go out there and do a right good job at reassuring the Celtic fans that we are all in the one boat and that we're all rowing in the same direction. However, I don't blame supporters having those reservations and those fears that the Celtic board simply just won't do that. So we've got a big week ahead of us. I'm gutted to see him go. I don't think any amount of money can really make me happy. I think even if Matt O'Reilly was to leave for £50 million, I wouldn't be sitting here applauding him out the door and pushing him away. I'd be still gutted, and I'm gutted with this £30 million. And it's mostly down to the fact I just don't think the board will spend that money that we bring in for him. So we'll just need to wait and see. Got a lot of questions in the chat, and I want to get to as many of them as I can. Just quickly adding over some details, the Daily Mail put out there as well. The deal, of course, 25 million up front. It can be close to the 30. It's going to get to the £30 million mark. O'Reilly to be replaced with Mateusz Bogus for around £8 million from LA FC. But Matt O'Reilly will now miss the game tomorrow against St Mirren at St Mirren Park. Celtic signed him for £1.5 million in January 2022, as I've already mentioned, which means we have made £28.5 million profit on the player, which is a record in itself for Celtic, let alone Scottish football. It's a huge sum of money. And you'll be seeing all these posts recently in the last few days about the money that Celtic have raked in from Ange Postecoglou's signings alone. I think it's near the number of £100 million. 25 million for Jota, 30 million for Matt O'Reilly, Karel Starfelt, Juranovic, all these players who've left that Ange Postecoglou signed. The club have racked up around £100 million in their sales. The profit numbers are absolutely obscene, to be quite honest. We have got more money at this football club than we ever had through its entire existence, and now it's down to the board to back the club and back the manager, back the fans, and the beliefs that we all have. But I don't know. I just don't know. That's my one fear about Matt O'Reilly leaving the club this weekend. I really don't know what happens over the next week. Mateusz Bogus is coming in. I like the look of him. I think he'll be good, and who knows, he could be the perfect Matt O'Reilly replacement. But we've spoke about Arne Engels in this window. Celtic should still go out. They should spend £10 million on Arne Engels. They should go and sign Austin Trusty as a centre half. They should go and get a left back in this last week of the window. They should throw everything they have at Brendan Rodgers to make this squad as good as possible. Right now, with Matt O'Reilly, so let's just pretend that Matt O'Reilly has officially left the club. Let's just pretend Celtic are significantly weaker from where they were last season. Significantly weaker. And that's just fact. You take Matt O'Reilly, if you ended the Scottish Cup final was on the 25th of May, and if you said to me or any Celtic fan on the final whistle, this will be the exact same squad next season, but without Matt O'Reilly, you would have been shitting yourself. You'd have been raging. That is a monumental, seismic downgrade in squads that Celtic have carried over from the 2023-24 campaign to the 24-25 campaign. So Celtic have a huge job to do in the last few days of this window. It shuts on Friday. And apart from Bogus, we're not really hearing anything that would indicate that we are much closer to signing any other players. So we've got to get through tomorrow, first of all, at St Mirren. But as soon as it's full time tomorrow in Paisley, and actually right now they should be as well, Brendan Rodgers, the board, and everybody involved in the recruitment process has to be sitting around the big table, and they have to be getting these decisions underway, because Celtic needs significant improvement in this next week. Either that, we're going into a Champions League league phase. Can't get used to saying that. We're going into a Champions League where the phase of games, you could make the point right now that Celtic could lose 8 out of 8 games. I know that sounds dramatic, but what examples do I have in front of me? What evidence do I have that I believe we can win any of these games without our best player now gone. You can make the case that Celtic are on track for a horrible Champions League campaign, and the board and the manager and everybody else needs to realise that over these next 7 days, and we need to go and improve. So yeah, it's a massive, huge, gigantic week for Celtic. I'm just checking my phone to see. I thought I was getting messages there. I was like, oh, am I getting some in the know updates? But nothing as far as I'm aware right now, apart from Bogus, who is going to sign, it seems, over the next week. Aside from that, nothing else, and that is where the worries are. We need to get into talks with guys like Engels, maybe Alvin Sanchez. I don't know. I'd rather Engels myself personally, but yeah. Anyway, Matt O'Reilly's gone. Let's get some of your questions, your points, your concerns. Very quickly, I'd just like to shout out Ian and Adam, who have donated on the stream thus far. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys. Let's go. Where do we start? We'll start with Cal. Surely the pressure is too much for the board to handle. There's no excuses anywhere. Well, that's my fear, Cal. I don't think this board feel pressure. I don't think that the Celtic board necessarily care about the pressure being put on them by the fans, because the thing is about Celtic, we live in this amazing cycle, and the board are the ones that reap the benefits of this cycle more than the supporters. We live in this cycle where every September there is pressure put onto the board, but in May everyone's happy because Celtic have won a double or a treble and they've won the league title. And right now, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Celtic are by miles the favourites to win this league because of the state that Rangers are in. And for the board, that's enough. And I think that alleviates the pressure they should feel. And it's so frustrating, because I think that if any of us were running the club, there would be far more ambition than just to win the Scottish Premiership every year. We'd want more than that. And we want to bury Rangers if we could. At any given impression, I'm just reading the Nation there, I'll get to that in a second. At any given moment, we'd love to bury Rangers and put them out of sight for decades, but Celtic's board seem reluctant to do that, and that pressure, they just don't feel. It's like they're in their own bubble, their own world, and they don't feel that pressure. They don't want to spend. I don't know what they're doing. Are they saving up to build a new stadium? I don't get it. Why do we need to bank all of this money to sit on, as if there's some Wall Street type crash round the corner? Celtic are more than steady enough for the next God knows how long, and with continuous Champions League football, which is a severe possibility, we're always going to be steadily bankrolled. I just don't understand it. But yeah. Someone is saying that it's just been announced we're in talks for Engels. Now, if that is true, that would be immense timing to this stream. I'll go and have a look in social media in a moment, but I don't know if that's the case. I've heard nothing around that. But we'll have a look. I'll have a look. Maybe it's happened while I've been live. I'm not doubting you, Kevin. I'm just saying. Thank you for the donation, Superman, saying, can I do my best Brendan Rodgers impression? I sent him down to Brighton and I said, Matt, you're a beautiful, beautiful human being. A beautiful man, You're welcome back to Celtic at any time, but you go down there in your ordinary clothes and you just live it up. Score goals and be a beautiful, beautiful human being. Right, there was no need for that. Get to more of your questions in a moment. So somebody's saying Anthony Joseph's just put up a tweet. Okay, I'm going to go and check Anthony Joseph's. Wow, what a perfect time for it to happen, if that is the case. Thank you to Adam again, by the way. Can't be far off a Green Brigade banner or Lawwell. Get to fuck chat. No, we are certainly not far off of that at all. Yes, I have watched the Engels 2 or 3 times. Yeah, Anthony Joseph has tweeted, thank you lads for pointing this out. Wow, live while we're on the air, we do have thank you, try my best. We do have a massive update while we're live in the air. Breaking news, actually, which is apt timing. Nice. Welcome yourselves in. Sit yourselves down. 6 minutes ago, Anthony Joseph reported that Celtic have opened talks with Augsburg over a potential deal. I'm just checking. Over a potential deal for central midfielder Arne Engels. Sky Sports News revealed earlier this month that the 20-year-old is one of the club's top targets to replace Matt O'Reilly. It's understood Engels is keen to join Celtic. So that's a big update. I think Augsburg will be really reluctant to sell. No, Mackenzie, no, it does not. Just to clarify, that does not mean that Mateusz Bogus is not happening. Brendan Rodgers made it clear that he wanted to sign two midfielders in this window. It would be Mateusz Bogus and Arne Engels. I think Augsburg would be reluctant to sell. I think it would be difficult. If you look back to Anthony Joseph's original tweet, back a few weeks ago, they apparently currently value him at £9 million. With a week to go in the window, that is going to rocket up. That's going to go higher. Probably up maybe 12, 13 million, I would say. Celtic shouldn't grudge paying that sort of money. I think they will, but they shouldn't grudge paying that sort of money. And I hope we do pay it, because he would be a fantastic Matt O'Reilly replacement and an ambitious Matt O'Reilly replacement as well. So I really do hope that this goes forward, and I hope that it goes part. Somebody saying, I do not believe we will spend the best part of 20 million on two midfielders. No way. And honestly, because it is Celtic, absolutely, it's hard to believe that. We're talking maybe 10 million for Arne Engels, and then the 8 million that we're hearing for Mateusz Bogus. That's £18 million. It's a lot of money. But at the end of the day, Craig, and for anybody who does doubt that, here's the reassurance that should help you. We have made 25 million on Matt O'Reilly, and that needs to be reinvested. And I think that Brendan, honestly, if I was to put my neck on the line here, I think if Brendan Rodgers doesn't see the majority of that 25 million spent on his side, I genuinely think Brendan Rodgers could be gone in the next 12 months. I could see him walking. And I'm not just saying that for a reaction. I'm not saying that to be OTT. Why the fuck would Brendan Rodgers want to stick around if he's getting forced to sell his best player and then he's not even getting to spend the money? He left on the first occasion because of the exact same situations. He wasn't getting backed. He was getting embarrassingly backed. And he walked because he couldn't be bothered putting up with it. Quite rightfully, to be quite honest. I forgave him almost instantly. You all know that watching this channel. I was the one banging on about getting Rodgers back. I was the one banging the drum saying, get him back, bring him in, back him and bring him back to the club. Paul, 12 months, 12 days. He walked the first time for less. That £25 million needs to be fucking spent. At least 15 of it. And if it's not, I think Rodgers will be gone by the end of the season. I really do. I believe that, because I don't think that Brendan Rodgers, who was a guy who sat down, I was there on the press conference. He was welcomed back to the club. I sat in the same room as Brendan Rodgers. I shook the man's hand, and we all asked him the question, why are you coming back? Why are you back after walking? Are they going to back you? And he said, I spoke to the board. They have better ambitions of backing me. We're going for it in Europe. He told us all of these things. And if we don't get to spend the majority of that £25 million on two midfielders, he will be gone by the end of the season. I guarantee it. But yeah, the big news there, Anthony Joseph, Augsburg, potential deal for Arne Engels. I think Celtic should go all in. I think that they should try and get this player, get this guy, because I like him. I like him a lot. Just off my... I seen him, as I said, you know me, I've always liked my German football. I seen him on a couple of occasions last year in the odd games and the odd Bundesliga highlight shows. He looks like a tasty talent. He looks like somebody who could replace Matt O'Reilly. And Rodgers away, I'll be away, for fuck's sake, yeah. What about a Kyogo impression? I don't think I can do that one, Superman, but I really do appreciate the donation. Thank you. I can't score goals, so I can't do impressions of him. So yeah, Bogus and Engels could be coming in. That would sort out the midfield. I would be happy with that, but we still need to improve those defensive areas. We still need a centre-back. We still need a left-back. It is obviously the main priority for the club at this point. And I hope that we can get them. But it is a positive update. It basically just, it confirms that the O'Reilly transfer will be done in the coming... Maybe it will happen today. Maybe it will get confirmed today. But it's happened anyway. There's no point in, sitting dancing about it. Dancing around it, sorry, because it's effectively done, and he'll be celebrating Brighton's win tonight with his new teammates. The medical should be passed. You'd imagine nothing wrong with him. We've seen him play firsthand, and that's that. Right, questions. So Arne Engels, yep, done. We've covered the majority of things. We have a wee bit left on the stream, and that is. Yeah. How am I? I'm sad. Really sad. Let's get some questions in, shall we? Remember a time O'Reilly, TikTok, Todd were compared, one moving to the Prem for 30 million, the other one's at home shaking his arse on TikTok. It is funny, Ewan. It is funny. I think we should also report the huge news. Oh, did he? Did he score? Good on him. I wish him the best. It was never going to work for him at Celtic, but there's a player deep down there, and I hope he does well. I really do. I wish him the absolute best over in Belgium. It's nice to hear him score. I'd like to take a punt on Lennon Miller. Fortunately, I want Miller as well. I like Lennon Miller, but he doesn't play for Celtic just now. You sign him, you loan him out. So yeah. Anthony Joseph is a very good source. Yes, we've talked about if you're going to bring up the Arne Engels stuff, we just talked about it. You're just a bit late for it, but he is a good source. Anthony Joseph. He's Sky Sports, Scottish football journalist. Adverts in a live stream. Listen, need to make my money somehow. McCarthy is an option. McCarthy's gone. He's gone. McCarthy's away. How much would I pay for Arne Engels? Listen, just pay the money they want. Listen, Augsburg are not a huge team, right? Augsburg are a solid mid-table Bundesliga side. They are. Listen, take it from somebody who loves the Bundesliga, right? I mean, no disrespect to Augsburg here, because, you know, they're one of those teams that are good at producing players, just like most German teams are, right? But Augsburg are in no place to be demanding huge money. Christ, it's hard for even the top teams in Germany to demand huge money, unless you're a superstar. You know, you don't typically see players leaving for huge sums out of Germany that often. You know, Borussia Dortmund have been really, really good at it, but they're one of the top sides. When you go down the table, it's not like players are leaving for 30, 40 million all the time. Augsburg, I believe, in their history, have only sold 4 or 5 players upwards of 10 million. I believe it's that. They're not in a place where they can demand an outrageous amount. For the benefit of their own club, money is important as well. They're in a similar situation to Celtic where, you know, 10 million quid is a lot of money to them. It's a huge amount of money, just like it would be to Celtic. So, you know, I would pay what they want. I think they'll probably ask for, if I'm going to give a prediction, if you're asking my prediction on it, I think that Augsburg will ask for 12 or 13 million pounds. Maybe there's room for negotiation to try and get that down as close to 10, but with a week to go in the window, I would just give them the fucking money. And I would make them the record signing in this country. It's as simple as that. Celtic are at that point now. So, yeah. People talking about Jota in the chat. Jota is not coming back to Celtic. I don't know if anybody's reading this on Facebook or if they're reading it in forums. I've just seen a couple of comments talking about it. He is not coming to Celtic. That's not happened. There's no chance of it. There's more chance of me signing for Celtic this weekend than there is Jota. So, just get that one out your mind. I'll help you out in this one because I like being nice like that. They are Ray-Ban and they're from Boots Opticians. Kyogo is going nowhere with the looks of it. Yeah, I would say I said this in my video yesterday, I'm 90% confident Kyogo stays. I still have 10% reservations because Pep Guardiola is a lying, baldy bastard and I don't trust a word that comes out his mouth. He did come out and say in the press conference that he's done with the window unless circumstances change, unless there's injuries or anything along that line of things. He's not going to sign anybody in this window. But as I said, he's a lying, baldy bastard, which is why I'm only 90% and not 100% confident Kyogo stays. But I would say it's very, very likely that Kyogo stays at this point of the window. Thank you to Celtic FC, apt name for the donation. Ryan, do you think we'll still win the league? Yes. By a fucking landslide. Yeah, that's realistically what will happen, Kieran. That is realistically what will happen. Hopefully Engels has a Hatate-like debut and bags a double. Well, listen, this is it now. Whoever signs for Celtic is going to be given the baptism of fire. That's it. Whoever signs for Celtic now over the next week, whether it's Engels, Bogish, centre halves, left backs, whatever, if they play, they're going to be given the baptism of fire. And I guess there's no better baptism to have than that. It'll also, Kieran worded this in our Celtic chat last night, Kieran from the podcast worded it, is the baptism of heated debate. Because if you don't play so well, half the supporters say you're done and you're a waste of money. So it's a bit nervy having them debut in these sort of games. Yeah, I wonder if they've got another Matt O'Reilly sitting about. Would be handy, wouldn't it? I'd stand by for a phone call. Yeah, Craig. God help us if I was to play for this. I'd be puffing at my arse inside 5 minutes. Trusty from Sheffield. Listen, I like the look of him. I see Before I go off the air, since we've kind of made this a transfer special this afternoon, before I go off the air, I made the video yesterday about Austin Trusty, and I seen a lot of people getting up in arms in the comments saying, Sheffield United fans saying he's rotten, he's not even in the starting lineup for Sheffield United, whatever. I don't care about that. Cameron Carter-Vickers hardly had the greatest career before coming to Celtic. He was loaned out to team after team, and we weren't hearing that he was by any means going to be great. And he came into Celtic and he fucking rocked our world. He is the best centre-back we've had since Virgil van Dijk, and some would say maybe even better than Virgil van Dijk. For Celtic, I mean, for Celtic. Not saying he's better than Virgil van Dijk, but for Celtic. He's served us now for 3 years at a very high fucking level. And before his move to Arsenal, he was one of the top defenders in the MLS. He got a move to Arsenal for a reason. Some moves don't work out for everybody. And I don't think that we should be taking the Sheffield United's criticisms too seriously. He played in the League Cup and he scored in the League Cup, actually, this season. In this early stages. So I like the look of Austin Trusty. I would go for Austin Trusty. And I think he's a trusty signing. That's my opinion on him. Bernardo's got a big weekend ahead of him. Absolutely. Someday to wind up. Trusty's starting today versus Norwich. There you go. Starting today against Norwich to see how he plays. I like the look of him. I think he'd be good. I think he'd be a good signing. So, yeah. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, ladies and gents, because we have gone for the half-hour mark. Matt O'Reilly is gone, and tomorrow we'll have to play without him for the first time in a long time, and it is all so fucking sad. But thank you for tuning in. I am away to Berlin on Thursday, which means I'm not here for Deadline Day, which will be the first time ever on this channel that I don't have a Deadline Day stream going, because I'm not in the country, I'm in Berlin. I'm sad about that because they're my favourite streams to do over the year. I love just going for an hour and talking absolute shite. I doubt I'll be doing one from Berlin. So, I still have content planned right up until Thursday. I should still be here every day up until Thursday, and I should still be doing videos while I'm in Berlin, because guess what? The derby's on when I'm in fucking Berlin. So, I should still be doing content right up through. I'll be doing stuff over there. You know me, I like to do commitment. And I've got a big announcement coming soon as well for the channel, which if you follow the community section on my channel, you might know what's about to come. And I think I'm going to make that announcement over the course of this week. So, yeah, stay with me. Transfers, we'll be reporting them as quickly as we possibly can. But thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, ladies and gents. Enjoy the Fitba. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.